It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. That could only mean one thing. Yes, 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 yes. It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo, woo, woo. Good morning, everybody. I promise not to mention the weather. I do actually have to apologise for the weather over the last week here in the UK. I bought a pair of sandals, and the weather has been damp and miserable ever since. But hopefully we've paid the price for my foolishness now, and things will look up. Having said I wouldn't mention the weather, I've just rabbited on about it. So let me quickly push on with some reviews of what has hit the Monster Magic shelves. And first up, we have Twisting the 13 Plus by Bacon Magic. This is a little packet trick, really. You show that you have the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of spades. You take them off the deck and you turn them all face down, apart from the ace, which is face up. You give them a shake, and now the 2 is face up. You give them another shake. The 3 is face up, then the 4, and then the 5, which is obviously a little bit confusing because you've only got 4 cards. You then do it with the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9, and eventually you turn them all over to reveal that you have the 10, Jack, Queen, and King in your hand, and in the middle of the deck is the face-up ace. What a lovely little trick. I was completely fooled by it. What is very, very nice is the ending for me, and also the journey. Actually, I've been really enjoying myself with this, not least. I can't show you the gimmicks. Can I show you? Let me see if I can show you anything that you get in here. Well, you get a black envelope, and in here are the gimmicks. You actually get 2 versions of the gimmicks, and these gimmicks, honestly, when I opened this envelope, I had a good little chuckle to myself. I'd never seen anything quite like it, and then suddenly the method became really, really apparent, and it's quite a nice, cheeky idea. I've never seen anything quite like it, and don't know, I've just really, really enjoying it. The gimmick does pretty much most of the work for you. Is it a sleight or is there a knack? Well, there is a half pass involved actually part way through the trick, which isn't as hard as you think, because you've only got a spread of 4 cards. It's a little knacky. It will take some practice, as will the actual move, which is, again, just a knack. I'm trying to think of what it's similar to, but I can't really give the game away. But you can see the hand motion it's all done under the squaring of the cards, really, and the fanning of the cards, and so there is a little bit of higgledy-piggledy going on with your hands, I suppose. Nothing actually looking super, super clean, but I quite like that in this trick, because you are actually, supposedly turning a card over without them seeing, which certainly for the first 4 cards makes sense. When they see a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, an 8th, and a 9th, and then a 10th, that is obviously very, very bizarre, and it just feels like you must have more than 4 cards there somehow. It's kind of amusing as well that you can keep carrying on and doing more and more cards, and that's kind of what gets to me. There's a nice bit of humour in this, and I've been pretending we've been a bit confused and so on. So it's a lot of fun, and it isn't that difficult. It is just knacky. You will have to practice it a bit to get it nice and smooth. Angle wise, it's pretty good. The setup, so straight off the deck, you do have to have the deck set up for it, but that's very easy as well. It's just like a little simple add-on style move. It's all, you can see it all in the trade. If you've got any experience, you'll know pretty much what's going on when you're taking the cards off the face of the deck. anyway. The tutorial is 15 minutes long, and it teaches you absolutely everything you need to know. You'll be surprised to learn. Most of it is done with transparent cards and the gimmick, so you can see exactly what's going on, where the gimmick is, how it's been orientated, and where the fingers are, and exactly how to do everything. And that is really, really nice and does make it very, very clear. It's more knacky than difficult, I would say. It's a fun thing to practice as well. The second gimmick is if you want to do the bonus routine, where everything, you start off with the aces and then they slowly all turn into kings, which is another option and very nice. When you put the cards down on the table, that does look very, very clean at the end. You're not super clean at that point, although given the way how the gimmick is, in its size and shape, if you were just to scoop up those cards, you can easily palm off the gimmick and then have the cards handed out, or just put them back in the deck and carry on with an ordinary card trick. And another nice thing is the gimmicks will pretty much work with any deck, unless you've got a quirky customized, Lego deck, or a sort of Lord of the Rings or a Superman deck from Theory 11. Anything like that possibly won't work, but anything with standard indices and you'll be fine. The backs do not matter at all. The only real downside for me is it's not quite a standalone packet trick. You do have to start off from the deck, but certainly if you do the ace and king routine, it's a great introduction to Doc dailies or any routine like that. I've had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a really, really good trick, and it does make me feel like I've got more skill than I actually have. That is Twisting the 13 Plus, just $16.99. Next up, we've got the coin guessing game by LT Magic. Oh dear. Let's get this one out of the way, shall we? I did start making notes on this, and now my notes are all just a blank page. I'm just so disappointed with this. The idea is that you have a $50 and you toss it up in the air, and your participant can say heads or tails, and you can make sure that they are always correct or they are always wrong. That is entirely up to you. As plots go, I think the tossing of a coin and the prediction of tossing of a coin, or the manipulation of it, is absolutely great. A coin toss has been done to, it's still used now in World Cup finals as a fair way of deciding who chooses the ends and so on like that. It's well known to be completely fair and honest. So to be able to manipulate it and predict things with it is a really, really good piece of magic and entertainment as well. And this just falls slightly short somehow, despite all of that. I'm not even sure the method can be original. I haven't gone digging around, but it seems sort of fairly obvious thing to be doing. What you get in here, you get a nice tin, and you get your gimmick or gimmicks in here, and they're two standard gimmicks that you may well already have. Why does this bother me? Well, I suppose the tutorial is 5 minutes long, and the plot he gives is simply just having your participant name head or tails and them always being correct. He then goes on to point out that don't do it too many times, because then they might suss out what's going on. So really you've only got 3 goes at that, which, I'm not sure is 3 enough to really demonstrate that you are manipulating it and they're always going to be right. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. I don't think that's enough to be powerful. And also, it's not a clever enough or intriguing enough plot. And there are just so many better ways of doing this. He runs through the handling of it at the start of the tutorial, which is fine. It's fairly obvious once you see the gimmicks. There are some sort of basic sleights involved, some fake transfer and so on, which I know is just miming, but you have to keep repeating them every time, and that is why you can't get away with it so often. There is a slight noise issue as well, so you're not going to be wanting to do this at a library or awake, but in ambient noise you should be fine. It's just not as clean as it should be. If you're going to gimmick something or a routine like this, it has to look super clean. I also don't like the way the coin toss happens. I like to catch it in one hand, flip it over and put it on the back of my palm and keep this fist closed. You can't really do that with this. You might find a way of manipulating it if you change your coin skills are good enough and you're able to do it. But for me, it's just a little bit of a waste of time, especially when there are so many better options out there. Even Hot by 1914 was much better than this. It had phases, it had a more intriguing plot, it was well thought out. Whether you liked the size of the coin of the original is something for debate. And then you've got Where's the Flip, which is just a download on Penguin for a lot less than this. With that, you can use any coin, you can borrow a coin. This coin cannot be examined, it cannot be handed out. You can show it casually, quickly, as being normal at the start, but that is it. And Flip has a more natural coin toss, and it's got a better plot. The idea of them writing down heads and tails and guessing whether they're right or wrong, and it being predicted, is a much better idea. This seems just lacking at every point for me, I'm afraid. It does work. The only real positive I can give it is that you do get two decent coin gaffs in here, which you might find useful for other routines. That is The Coin Guessing Game by LT Magic, $38.99. Next up, it is Egg Bottle by Bacon Magic and Long Long. This is another thing that has been making me chuckle. The idea is that you show you have a fake egg and you sprinkle some salt onto it, and then the egg squeaks. You then sprinkle some more salt on it, and it turns into a real egg, which you can then crack into a glass. That is Long Long's routine with it. Completely quirky, completely off the wall. It is basically a comedy salt shaker that you can switch pretty much any object with, whether it be a ball, an egg, or even a Rubik's Cube, a mini RD Rubik's Cube, for example. You can also just make something vanish, I suppose, if you wish. Let me see if I can show you what you get. I'll have to be a little bit careful here, because one of the things is this is almost certainly a parlour trick rather than a close-up trick, because there are an angles issues, really. So you kind of want to be sort of well, you've got about 180 degrees is really all I'll say. This is the salt shaker. There you go. Does it look like a salt shaker? I suppose it does. It does make the classic comedy salt shaker noise as well. This isn't screwed on, this just comes off, which is a bit annoying. There's no sort of screw on it. I'm not sure it looks salty enough. I'm not sure it looks like it's a glass full of anything enough. I don't know, you can decide. For me, you are asking your audience to suspend their belief a little bit. It doesn't really look like anything to me. It's too big to be a salt shaker. It could be a sugar pot, I suppose, but that would have a spout rather than the sprinkles. And it doesn't look like it's a glass thing full of anything. It looks like a tin to me, much more. But it is really easy to use. The handling is surprisingly natural. If you mime the idea of swapping the egg from one hand to the other, that's great, and it does work. The egg you get has a squeak in it as well. This is a nice offbeat comedy moment. The egg looks more real as an egg than the salt cellar does as a salt cellar, to me. I like the idea of a squeaky egg. There's something funny about that. I think because eggs are fragile, I do like that a lot. And I love the routine as being really, really quirky. The tutorial is by Long Long himself. English isn't his first language, so it is dubbed, but dubbed really, really well. That's perfectly fine for me. It's a nice English voice, and everything is correct. And he runs through everything from multiple angles, so you get everything really smooth from where you position your fingers and so on. Even the most obvious things are covered, and I think the switch is really, really well motivated, as long as you understand that the motivation is to sort of you move the salt cellar from one hand to the other and the egg to the other. As long as that motivation is clear, I think it's really, really deceptive, particularly because obviously you've only got the two objects still, so they must be the same objects, surely. So you kind of end really nice and clean, provided no one's standing behind you. And the cracking of an egg from a plastic egg to a real egg is obviously a great moment and comes as a surprise, as anyone who has done silk to egg will know. As I said, you can switch other objects with it, as long as they're roughly the size or a bit smaller than the salt shaker. The Rubik's Cube solve is a nice idea, but for me, Long Long's smashing it with the egg, pardon the pun, that is exactly what you should be doing it, because for me it's a comedy offbeat sort of thing. It's not for me to be done as a switch in a serious mentalism routine or anything like that. Making a rubber egg turn into a real egg is a good piece of magic. This makes it enjoyable and fun. It is much more a parlor piece than close up or walk around, just really because of the angles. And to be honest, now I'm thinking about it, because this has got the squeak and it is a comedy routine, maybe this doesn't have to look too good, because it's a comedy prop rather than you're actually saying that it's got salt in it. It's growing on me. I am finding it amusing. That is Egg Bottle by Long Long Bacon Magic. £34, 50p. Next up, it's Kronos by Matteo Pittinger. This, I think, is Matteo's first release. He seems like a really nice young lad, and good luck to him, because I'm sure this took a fair amount of development. It is basically an ITR, electronic ITR, that hides in plain sight, and that enables you to do all sorts of things, such as the spinning floating card or the haunted deck. The trailer itself, I don't think really does it much justice. I think it's sort of shot in order to show you the device more than it is to show you the effect that can be done with it, which I quite admire, but I'm not sure if it's going to help any of the sales. It does hide under your wristband, if you hadn't noticed. And that is a really, really good place to hide anything. When people look at a watch, they expect you to be wearing a watch. It's very close to your sleeves quite often as well. And quite often, as long as you've got your hands the right way around, it's pretty much invisible, the underside of your wrist. If you draw too much attention to it, which can happen with this, because you do actually have to obviously set up, so you have to sort of get the ball of wax from your watch to your fingertips or onto the object, and you also have to turn it on at some point. All of those need to be done an offbeat. Matteo does run through that. You don't get a live performance as such, you get talked through it. The tutorial is 15 minutes long, and it starts off with what the actual device is, how it works, how to charge it, how to turn it on and off, all of the basics, and also how to change the actual reel, the spool, and that is surprisingly easy. It is a very small device, so you will need to put your glasses on, you will need to be careful not to damage it, but it is a surprisingly easy way of changing the spool, which is one of those things that anyone who uses these ITRs and things like Leviosa and so on, is often the rethreading and the replacement of the thread that causes the problem. I think this is probably one of the best for that. Let me show you exactly what you get first of all. I don't think I'm going to be giving away too much as such, because it's all pretty much in the trailer. So there you go, that is what you receive. I won't bother showing you all of the cables, but what you are probably interested in is the size of the device. So here it is. That's the on and off button, that's where it all comes from. So that is the device as such. I guess it's about 1 centimetre. It is black, it is 3D printed, which isn't the strongest. Obviously it's not as strong as if it was injector and molded or anything like that, but and you know, in its normal use under your watch strap, that's going to be as safe anyway. Certainly with its construction, it is strong enough, and if you keep it in the plastic case, you'll be fine with it. It doesn't have to be super strong unless you're planning on stepping on it at some point. And yeah, the inside is really clear, the charging is really simple. It's a really, really nice design. My watch has a metal band. This will be a pain. It's too big for me to even get enough links on with it, so that's no good. So I've got no expense spared watch here, and so here you go. That's it. And it is surprisingly comfortable. I'm not sure what, I don't want to show you too much, but there you go. This band isn't wide enough, obviously, but it still hides there, it still holds there, it's still nice and firmly held in place. I could still use it like this. I think I could just about get away with it, but in an ideal world, what you really want is a black rubber strap, reasonably wide, and you'll get away with it. The sort of one that's on a smartwatch will be absolutely fine. But of course, the real secret to this is not drawing attention to your wrist or your arms in general. Focus everyone's attention on the object that you are levitating or animating, and you will be fine. They're not really going to look past your hands. Obviously, don't turn your palms upwards. That might be a little bit of a giveaway. And Matteo does manage to teach a couple of routines as well. So he teaches the floating card, and he also teaches the haunted deck, which are both super routines. The haunted deck, spooked by Nick Einhorn, is a really good routine. If you know that, this is great for it. Personally, I wouldn't wear it every day, all day as an everyday carry. It's just a little bit bulky for that. But if I did think I was going to have an opportunity to do a haunted deck or do a bit of fun animation, I would 100% wear it for an evening. Or it's very quick to put on and set up regardless. So you could just put it on for the trick and then pop off to a corner and take it off again. And I probably wouldn't be wearing it for gigs either, simply because I do a lot of routines where I am being very open. I've got a lot of natural hand gestures, and I just feel I would be flashing it far too much. All in all, it is a really well-made electronic ITR. It's really well thought out when it comes to replacing the spools. It works just as it should do. Whether it suits your needs and your style, only you can decide. But that is Kronos by Matteo Pittenger, £68, 50p.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a little bit shorter than normal. That is because I had a slight technical hitch beforehand, so I've sort of been rushing a little bit, but come on, It is now the weekend. It's a day off. Let's slip on your shorts, slip on your sandals, grab some magic and go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.